The champagne flutes clinked like wind chimes as Olivia Montgomery made her entrance into the reception hall, her arm linked through James Carter's. Heads turned, conversations halted, and even the bride, James's ex-wife Rebecca, momentarily lost her picture-perfect smile. No one could believe that the radiant woman in the emerald dress, with her confident stride and captivating laugh, had been sleeping in her car just 3 months ago. 6 months earlier, James had been drowning. Between raising his 10-year-old daughter Maddie alone and running his struggling landscaping business, the invitation to Rebecca's wedding felt like the universe's final cruel joke. For years after she'd walked out claiming she needed to find herself, Rebecca had apparently found herself engaged to her yoga instructor, a man with perfect teeth and a trust fund. "Daddy, we have to go," Maddie had insisted, her small face serious as she handed him the cream-colored invitation. "Mom will be sad if we don't, and I want to wear a pretty dress." James ran his hand through his hair, noticing the gray strands that hadn't been there when Rebecca left. At 38, he felt twice his age. "Of course we'll go, sweetheart. Whatever makes you happy." But as the RSVP deadline approached, panic set in. Everyone would be there with their partners, Rebecca's family who once treated him like a son, their mutual friends who had diplomatically maintained relationships with both of them. He'd be the pathetic ex-husband, solo with his daughter, while Rebecca glowed with her new beginning. That's when fate intervened in the form of a broken-down Honda Civic at the edge of his property. James had been finishing a late landscaping job when he noticed the car and the woman trying to sleep in the reclined driver's seat. Something about her determination not to be noticed touched him. Instead of calling the police as his neighbor suggested, he approached with a thermos of coffee. "Car trouble?" he asked, keeping a respectful distance. The woman jolted upright, fear flashing across her face before she composed herself. "Just resting before I move on," she said, her voice hoarse but dignified. "It's going to drop below freezing tonight," James said. "I have a guest room. No strings attached." She studied him for a long moment. "Why would you help a stranger?" James shrugged. "Because someone once helped me when I needed it." Her name was Olivia, he learned over that first cautious cup of coffee. She'd been an elementary school art teacher in Philadelphia until budget cuts eliminated her position. Then came the medical bills from her mother's cancer treatment, the maxed-out credit cards, the eviction. She'd been driving west, chasing a potential job lead that had fallen through. "Just for tonight," she insisted. "I'll be gone by morning." But morning came, and Maddie took an immediate liking to their guest. "You look like Merida from Brave," his daughter declared, fascinated by Olivia's wild auburn curls. "Maddie, give Ms. Montgomery some space," James scolded gently. "It's fine," Olivia said, a genuine smile warming her face for the first time. "And it's just Olivia." One night turned into 3, then a week. James offered her the guest house in exchange for helping with his bookkeeping, which was in shambles. Her organizational skills were impressive, and soon she was helping him restructure his business model, focusing on sustainable landscaping that attracted higher-paying clients. "You're undercharging by at least 30%, she told him, showing him spreadsheets she'd created. "And you need a website that showcases your work." As April turned to May, Olivia became part of their routine. She helped Maddie with her homework while James prepared dinner. On weekends, the 3 of them worked in James's demonstration garden. Olivia's knowledge of native plants surprised him. "I minored in botany," she explained, gently teaching Maddie how to transplant seedlings. "I always thought I'd have a garden of my own someday." James watched them together, something unfamiliar stirring in his chest. It had been so long since he'd allowed himself to feel anything beyond survival. The wedding invitation remained on the refrigerator, a gilded reminder of his failure. One evening, after Maddie had gone to bed, he confessed his dread to Olivia. "I can't face them all alone," he admitted, the words painful to speak aloud. "Rebecca's moving forward, and I'm stuck." Olivia was quiet for a moment. "You're not stuck, James. You're rebuilding. There's a difference. They won't see it that way. She studied him, then said something that changed everything. Take me. James blinked. What? To the wedding. Take me as your date. She held up a hand when he started to protest. Not as a romantic thing. As friends. So you don't have to walk in alone. The idea was absurd. And yet. I couldn't ask you to do that. You didn't ask. I offered. She smiled. Besides, I've never been to a fancy wedding. Might be fun to dress up for once. 2 weeks before the wedding, panic struck again. I have nothing to wear, Olivia confessed. I sold most of my clothes when things got bad. That Saturday, James surprised her by asking his sister Charlotte to take Olivia shopping. Consider it payment for saving my business, he insisted when she protested. When Charlotte brought her home, something had shifted. Olivia walked taller, her confidence visibly restored by the simple act of being treated with dignity. Thank you, she said that night, her voice thick with emotion. Not just for today. For everything. James shook his head. You've done more for us than we have for you. The morning of the wedding arrived with perfect June weather. James knocked on the guest house door, Maddie bouncing excitedly beside him in her flower-patterned dress. Coming. Olivia called. When she opened the door, James forgot to breathe. The emerald dress Charlotte had helped her choose complemented her auburn hair, which she'd styled in elegant waves. But it was her eyes that caught him, clear and bright, without the haunted look they'd held when they first met. You look beautiful, Maddie declared. Is it too much? Olivia asked uncertainly. James found his voice. It's perfect. The ceremony was held in a botanical garden, Rebecca's choice. James felt a twist of irony as they were seated, his ex-wife celebrating her new beginning surrounded by the very things that represented his livelihood. You okay? Olivia whispered, squeezing his hand. He nodded, surprised to find it was true. The bitterness he'd expected didn't materialize as Rebecca walked down the aisle. Instead, he felt an unexpected peace. At the reception, however, the real test began. Rebecca's mother cornered them at the cocktail hour. James, darling, she said, air-kissing his cheek before turning a curious eye to Olivia. And who might this be? Before James could answer, Olivia extended her hand. Olivia Montgomery. I'm James's business partner. Business partner? Rebecca's mother repeated, clearly fishing for more. Yes, Olivia continued smoothly. I handle the administrative side of Carter's sustainable landscapes. Your daughter chose a beautiful venue, the native plantings are exquisite. As they moved through the reception, Olivia charmed everyone they encountered. She discussed irrigation systems with Rebecca's uncle, a retired engineer. She complimented the floral arrangements and asked thoughtful questions about the centerpieces. When James's former college roommate made a tactless joke about trading up, Olivia deftly changed the subject without embarrassing anyone. You're amazing, James whispered as they found their seats for dinner. She shrugged. I'm just being myself. But it was during the dancing that everything changed. Maddie had joined the other children on the dance floor when the DJ announced a father-daughter dance. James hesitated, unsure if he should participate. Go, Olivia urged. She's waiting for you. As James twirled his daughter around the floor, he caught sight of Olivia watching them, her expression soft. Something clicked into place. This woman, who had lost everything but her dignity, had somehow helped him find parts of himself he thought were gone forever. When he returned to the table, Rebecca was sitting in his chair, deep in conversation with Olivia. There you are, Rebecca said, standing. Your date is delightful, James. She was just telling me about the community garden project you're starting. James blinked in confusion. Community garden? Olivia smiled innocently. The one we discussed for the empty lot on Maple Street? For the after-school program? Right, he said, playing along. That one. Rebecca squeezed his arm. It's good to see you doing so well, James. Really? She leaned in to whisper, she's special. Don't mess it up this time. As Rebecca rejoined her new husband, James turned to Olivia. Community garden? She shrugged. It just came to me. But actually, it's not a bad idea. The school where Maddie goes has that unused space behind the playground. We could apply for a grant. We? Olivia's confidence faltered. I mean, if I'm still around. I know this arrangement was temporary. The music changed to a slow song. James held out his hand. Dance with me? On the dance floor, with Olivia in his arms, James finally asked the question that had been building for weeks. What if I don't want it to be temporary? She stilled. What are you saying? I'm saying the guest house is yours for as long as you want it. I'm saying Maddie adores you. I'm saying my business has never been better. He took a deep breath. And I'm saying I think I'm falling in love with you, but I don't want to scare you away. Tears filled her eyes. James. You don't have to say anything now, he rushed on. I know you came here to rebuild your life, not to get tangled up with a single dad with baggage. James, she said more firmly, placing her fingers against his lips. I was homeless, not heartless. I've been falling for you and Maddie since that first night. I just never thought you could feel the same way about someone who came into your life with nothing. You didn't come with nothing, he said. You came with everything I didn't know I needed. Across the room, Maddie watched them with a knowing smile. When James caught her eye, she gave him an enthusiastic thumbs up. Later that night, as they drove home with a sleeping Maddie in the back seat, Olivia rested her head on James's shoulder. Thank you for taking a chance on me, she whispered. Thank you for showing me how to live again, he replied. 3 years later, James and Olivia were married in their own backyard, surrounded by the gardens they'd built together. The community garden project was thriving at Maddie's school, and Olivia had returned to teaching art, this time at a community center they'd helped establish. Rebecca and her husband attended the wedding, genuine happiness in their congratulations. Sometimes life's detours lead exactly where you're meant to be. As for the guest house, it didn't stay empty long. They converted it into a temporary home for others needing a fresh start, a program they called Growing Hope, where people down on their luck could find not just shelter, but purpose. You changed my whole world by offering me coffee that night, Olivia told James on their wedding day. I want to pass that forward. And they did, one life at a time, proving that sometimes the most beautiful gardens grow from the most unexpected seeds. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that celebrates second chances and unexpected blessings. Share in the comments if you've ever experienced a moment that changed everything. I read every single one. Until next time, remember that kindness costs nothing but can be worth everything.